friends, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be making the most delicious Nutella brownies you have ever tasted. I've tried a couple different recipes, didn't like any of them, and decided to make my own. So let's get into the ingredients. So for this recipe you're going to need chocolate chips, flour, white sugar, brown sugar, eggs, Nutella, cocoa powder, vanilla extract, oil, and some baking powder. The ingredients and the measurements will be in the description. So to my bowl, I'm going to be adding hot melted butter. The reason why the butter is hot is because I am going to be incorporating the Nutella, and it is easier to mix when it's hot. So we're just going to go ahead and add the Nutella, and just let you know that this is a smaller batch. I'm going to be using an 8x8 pan, so I'm only using half a cup of Nutella here, but you can feel free to double the recipe if you need a bigger batch. So now I'm just mixing my Nutella and my butter mixture. And like I said, the butter and the Nutella just need to incorporate, and because the butter is hot, it's gonna make it easier for it to incorporate. So I'm just mixing it on up until I get to a creamy texture. So the texture you want, nice and creamy. So I'm going to be adding brown sugar to my Nutella and butter mixture. Then I'm going to be adding white sugar as well. So to that I'm going to be adding my oil, and that's about 2/3 of oil. I found that the oil and the butter, they make a better texture. Some of the recipes were just saying butter, and some were saying just oil, but I find that together they make a better texture. So I'm just going to be beating all this together till I get a really creamy texture. It's still going to be kind of granulated, but that's okay because once you start adding more things in it, it's going to get thick. You want to try to beat all this out as much as possible, because when you start adding your dry ingredients, you don't want to mix it too much because you don't want a tough brownie. You want your brownie to be nice and chewy and decadent. So we're just going to keep mixing. So see, it's kind of grainy, but that's what we want. So to the mixture now you're gonna add vanilla. I add as much vanilla as I like because you can never have enough vanilla, so you see I added more. And from there we're gonna add our eggs, because by now the mixture should be nice and tempered. If you would have added the eggs earlier, you run the risk of scrambling the eggs. So now the mixture's cool and the eggs will just help smooth everything out. So we're just gonna mix it until it's all nice and incorporated. And like I said, you wanna mix as much as you can while you have the wet ingredients, because when we put the dry ingredients, we don't wanna do too much mixing. So we're just mixing it. Look at all that nice creamy chocolate. And another thing to know, I didn't put too much cocoa powder in it because I found that that was very strong. So here I'm gonna kind of explain to you what's happening with the cocoa powder and the flour. So to this bowl I'm adding a cup of flour, and I'm gonna add about a 1/3 cup of cocoa powder, because you still want that chocolate taste. What I found is that if you don't add the cocoa powder, you do not have a Nutella brownie taste. You have like a blah taste. So if you add too much cocoa powder, then that just, it gets really strong. So to that I'm also adding my baking powder, and a lot of brownie recipes do not say anything about baking. I tend to enjoy using baking powder in this type of recipe. I tend to use baking powder in anything that has to do with cakes, brownies, cookies. I don't care. I'm putting baking powder in it. I find that it makes it for me. So anyway, so you're just gonna whisk all that together until you can get it nice incorporated. It's not gonna be perfect, but you wanna mix it as much as you can. You can sift it, but I just use my whisk to mix it together to try to get the lumps out and to incorporate it. So once you have it all mixed together, you're gonna go ahead and put it inside your bowl with your wet ingredients. You're gonna try to get as much of it out as possible because we can't waste it. I like to mix everything around by hand first so that we don't make a bigger mess than I'm already gonna make. And how this recipe even came about was that we had extra Nutella in the shelf and I just wanted to get rid of it. So this is considered a pantry meal because I had all the ingredients, so why not? Nutella tends to break apart if it stays in your shelf for too long, so I knew that I needed to get rid of it. And what better way to get rid of it than to make brownies? So I'm just scraping off my spoon because we don't want to waste any of this mixture. Yes, this is a Christmas spoon. It's one of my favorite spoons. It's from Christmas Story. I love that spoon. Okay, so once you have it partially mixed, you're gonna go in with your mixer because remember, we don't want to mix it too much. So you're gonna mix it as much as it needs to be mixed just so that you don't see any of the powder granules from the sugar or the cocoa powder. I'm just letting my beater spin off the rest of the excess chocolate. And like I said, you do not want to mix it too much with the mixer. So I'm just going back in and scraping the sides with the spatula, making sure that I get all of the ingredients off the side, making sure that we don't waste anything. And you can just see how thick that is coming off of the beaters. So again, just mixing it, making sure everything's incorporated. So to this mixture, I am adding chocolate chips. I added about a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. I didn't want to add too much. So I have my 8x8 pan. No, I did not put any parchment paper. I didn't put any flour down. I did not put any extra anything. I just sprayed my pan and put my brownie mixture in because this pan is amazing. And who has time to do all that? I'm trying to get this brownie in the oven and in my mouth immediately. Once you have the mixture in your pan, you just want to kind of level it down with your spatula. You can't beat it on the counter, but I'm not about to tear up my counter for no brownies. So I'm just gonna pat it down with my spatula and make sure it's as smooth as it can be. And I'm just gonna show you how thick and delicious it is. So this is gonna make for a beautiful brownie. Yes, you want it to be thick. It's gonna look ridiculously thick, but that's okay. And this is what it looks like when it comes out the oven. So I baked my brownie for 25 minutes at 375. And you wanna check it at 20 minutes, but mine was perfect at 25 minutes. And I'm gonna show you just how delicious it was. Oh my goodness, we ate this in hours. So there you have it. How thick and fudgy and chewy that is. You see how it's all flaky on top? That's what you want. That's how you know that's a good brownie. And see, nothing stuck. And look how delicious that brownie looks. And there you have it, friends. My delicious Nutella brownie recipe, the only Nutella brownie recipe that you will ever need. I mean, once you start putting Nutella in these brownies, you will not want to go back. So thank you guys again for joining my channel. I hope that you like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next video, bye.